Hi, Jolene and Johnson. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you.
That's good. So, the purpose of our meeting today is to provide you with advice in regards to the Australian taxation system. From the information provided, there's a few different rates which we need to consider upon our strategy. So, the first one is our income tax rate for individuals. So, there's a different scale there. So, if you're earning under 18,200, you don't pay any tax on income. Between 18 and 37, you pay 19 cents or 19%. Between 37,000 and 80,000, you pay 32.5%. When you're between the 80,000 and 180,000 bracket, it's 37%, and upon over 180,000, you're looking at about 45 cents in the dollar, or 45%, plus a Medicare levy surcharge of 1.5 on top, which applies. So if they're a lower income earner, that's exempt. So as we look at a superannuation structure, the income tax rate is 15% on all taxable earnings and on any contributions inside the concessional contribution caps. Trusts on any undistributed income that pays the highest marginal tax rate, so that'd be 47%. On any undistributed income where companies have a tax rate of about 30%. If we're looking at a partnership structure, the individual tax rates apply, with each partner responsible for their share. So it's 50-50. 50% of those earnings would be at your taxable income rate and 50 at the partner's taxable income rate. So as you can see, there's a lot of different taxation rates and structures that need to be considered, and there is different responsibilities as well depending on what structure you look at as well also. So are you comfortable with the different rates of taxation and the different structures?
Yeah, I am, but I'd like a bit of more guidance of what would be suitable for us and what kind of the liabilities will look like.
Yeah, okay. So if we look at your current situation and we break it down, um, so what we're looking at is, your total overall business income of 395,000, less consumables, so a gross profit of about 250, with an expenditure of about 100,000 there. Plus you've got a couple of directors' salaries of 50,000 that you're currently paying, and 20,000 in superannuation contributions. So from a taxable component, you're looking at about $69,000 at a 30% company tax rate, which translates to about 48,000 $500 odd dollars, what you're looking at, as you can see from the chart there, what we're looking at there. Um, so making your net profit in the company after tax, about 48 and a half. So if we look at the directors, at your personal situation based off the structure that you've currently provided, the director's salaries plus a wage on top, which you're both receiving, of 11 and a half. We're presuming that as well the dividend you're getting paid from the company is a fully franked dividend, where the tax component they paid 30%, so you've got an imputation credit of about 1,200 there as well too. So your total income, from a personal level, you're looking at about 90,000. Once we take off expenses such as loan interest costs, private health, from a claimable type of thing, you've got about 3,900 in claimables. So your taxable income, for you, Jolene, is 74, and 71 there for Johnston. So the Medicare levy, Jolene, you're looking at 1,114, and Johnson, you're looking at 1,075 there. So From a total taxation point of view, from a personal level, 16.8 for Eugene and 15.9 for Johnston. So from a combined tax level, you look about 32 you're paying from a combined level, plus the company's liability of about 20 there. So that's how the taxation system's looking at. So whereas we look at the investing more money in the superannuation environment, okay, so utilising our contribution caps. So with that, we want to try and make investments in there so we can see the amount of tax you are paying outside, where you're paying about combined, I think I said about $40,000. So if we look at putting money from your current structure there, possibly taking money out of from the company paying more in the superannuation side of things. So instead of looking at reducing your director's wage from 50 back and putting some money in there, we can then have a tax deduction for the company, which will result in less tax paid from the company, or alternatively your superannuation. We'll look at an investment strategy such as the particular fund that I've recommended there, as you can see. So you'll only pay 15% on tax earnings and 15% on contributions in there. So the reason why I've chosen this international equities fund is because it offers great diversification. It's highly weighted in international equities with lower exposure in cash and debt and domestic equities. So, basically it has the objective between long-term capital growth and income, which fits in with your needs and what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
So that's looking at the situation there. So if we look at the situation from a forecasting side of things moving forward, we can base it off your quarterly BAS obligations, okay, and look at the company's previous year's previous year's data and track how they've been going in the last quarters. The company tax rate in 16-17 has dropped to 28.5, which is good. So we want to try and utilise that, particularly where you're looking at the higher marginal rates in the individual income tax. And in forecasting, we want to try and best, with the forecasting side of things, we can't really guarantee what happens, but if we go in around financial year where the budgets are released in around that June, July type thing with our forecasting, hopefully this is when economic and fiscal policy does tend to change, and we can take that into our forecasting as well too. So for instance, one of the things that is occurring at the moment is the concessional contribution caps are changing, so they've reduced. So we need to look at other means as well too. So the super side of things is a great way to take into consideration with the excess funds and get you towards your retirement goal. So we just need to review what you're doing from a personal side of things. So have I explained that in a way it makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
Sounds great.
let me tell you how we get paid. So in regards to our fees and commissions, we are a fee for service company, and we charge a flat dollar fee. So for implementation of the advice, it's $1,500 for the upfront, and ongoing we charge $1,200 per year. There may be other fees as well too. So for example, if any estate planning, any legal structures such as trusts and things getting set up, they'll be external to those costs as well too. So whether you go through your accountant or you go through a solicitor in setting up these particular structures, that will be an additional cost external to our fees. So basically, if you're happy, with that, you pay that fee based on the recommendations you want us to implement from our statement of advice. The process moving forward is you sign the authority to proceed. Upon that, that gives us the authority to act on your behalf in facilitating the process, setting up the correct structures, making sure with contributions into super. If you're happy to go down that path as well too, we can start setting up the and making those investments as well too from our strategy as well there. So once we've implemented all the recommendations, we'll then send you a client confirmation letter and a detailed summary of your new position, and review at a half yearly basis as well too. So to make sure that the particular investments, as well to another thing that you might find is with the cash flow side of things, you used to having this much cash flow, that reducing, going down into super. It's just looking at another strategy where we can minimise legally how much tax you're paying and try and maximise any investment earnings. You've also got the existing portfolio of BHP shares you've got there too. So do you have any questions or anything so far?
No, you covered it.
Okay, so basically, in order to proceed from here, I'll email you a copy of our detailed schedule from an implementation side of things, what needs to occur and when, and I'll do that once you both have signed the statement of advice. Once you've signed the statement of advice and authority to proceed, you then have 7 days to pay the implementation fee. Okay, and that's when we can start acting on your behalf to get the ball rolling with this, and then we can try and line it up from our financial year date with our forecasting and track the strategy moving forward. So how does that sound?
Yeah, no, really good, really good.
Okay, perfect. So is there any other questions that you guys may have, or have I pretty much addressed everything that you've wanted today?
No, you've answered everything. If I have any questions, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a copy of my business card. I'll send you a follow-up email as well too. And other from that, I'd like to thank you guys for your time today. I hope I've explained everything in a way that that makes sense, and I'll maintain contact with you throughout the implementation process. And from time to time, we may need further information from you. We may need to get in touch with your accountant as well to ensure that the strategy is working in your best interest as well too. So
Yeah, that's fine.
all right, no worries. Well, I'll speak with you guys soon, and yeah, please feel free to get in contact if you've got any questions.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.